Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Cassie and today we're going to be making the Seamwork Natalie shirt. So this is a pattern that I took from the Seamwork website. I'm a member there, so I think I got it for free using one of the credits, and I'm going to be showing you how I make it through a little sew along today. But before we get into that, if you are not subscribed yet, I would love if you did subscribe to this channel. This is where I talk about all sewing and making general DIY and sustainable fashion. And without waiting any further, let us get into this little sew along. I started by placing my pattern pieces on my fabric. Now, I wasn't really worrying too much about pattern matching at this point because the pattern, as you can see, is quite big and spaced out, so I figured it wouldn't look too bad if I didn't focus exactly on pattern matching. You can also see I don't have the most innovative solution for pinning and cutting out my pieces. I don't have really enough space for a cutting mat and a rotary cutter, so what I'm just doing is pinning my pieces through the fabric, literally to my carpet, and then cutting out around that with my fabric shears. It's not the most, like I said, innovative solution, but it is what we've got. A little close-up of this vintage sheet. This is what I'm using as a fabric. It's so sweet. It's got these little travel landmarks all over it. It's really soft to the touch. It's got little travel sayings and slogans. I think it's really cute. This is towards the end of the night. I always tend to do in the evenings, usually at the beginning of the week. That's when I like to cut out my pieces so that the rest of the week I can just focus on sewing and putting it all together after work. I usually know that this is my least favorite part, so I'll put on a podcast and just listen while I draw and pin pieces and put on the dart marks like I'm doing here. And yeah, it's usually just like a really casual, slow evening because at this point, to try to cut out and sew is just not going to happen. So that's what I recommend doing. It's just taking it easy, taking it step by step. As I learned, there is no rush. Alright my friends, it's time to say goodnight. I have all of my pattern pieces cut out right there. I have my extra fabric for making the rest of the set there. And now I'm going to sleep and I will see you tomorrow. Hey everyone, just sat down. It's the end of the work day and I cut out all my pattern pieces yesterday. I just have to cut out the interfacing and interface it. And then I am going to start sewing it all together, so I'll show you that. I just realized I don't really have a matching thread. I just have this bright white thread and the fabric is not a bright white, but that's okay. I'm gonna take a look to see if I have a beige, but if not, then we gotta go with what we have. We're being scrappy and thrifty today. So I'm gonna get into that, and I put on a little bit of makeup because I was having kind of a sad day, and now we're gonna get into it. Also, for full transparency, I will show you my setup because it is not cute, but we're all about transparency here. So here she is. This is my sewing desk. I'm going to soon put all of this stuff on the floor next to my cat. Hi, Layla. And then clear out some of that. But this is the situation. So let's just get right into that. when you are already hot is just not a good idea. But I did the ironing, I burned myself, so you know that it's going to be a good sewing session if that happens. And now I'm going to take all my pieces, they're kind of all in that mess there, and I'm going to start piecing them together. So let's get sewing. I wanted to show this clip of me unpicking the dart that I just showed me sewing because I was trying to film and sew at the same time, and clearly it didn't work out. So here it is. You're going to see a lot of me unpicking in this video, but I wanted to show the process because it's definitely not always a smooth one. Actually, it's rarely ever a smooth one. Now on to sewing a fully concentrated dart where I figured out an alternative setup so I could sew a beautiful and clean dart and also film it at the same time. And miraculously, it worked out pretty well. I decided to do French seams for this project, and one thing that always gets me is making sure that it's wrong sides together instead of right sides together. So that's what I'm doing here, double, triple checking, because it's something that I always tend to mess up. But you know, taking it nice and slow is the whole point of French seams, and you know, while it gives a really beautiful finish, the majority of the reason why I tend to do French seams is because it makes me slow down and consider the process and just do things slowly and carefully. Now you're gonna see a true little capsule of me singing while I prepare my sleeves to insert them. Probably one of my least favorite parts of the whole process is doing the sleeves because I always tend to mess them up, but you know, when you sing your way through it, you can't go wrong, right? And this is where I actually finished up for the day, so see you tomorrow. Hello my friends, it is the next day, so we're on day 3, and I'll move you down. So here we are. So I'm really liking how the sleeves turned out. This will be the collar, as you can see. I think it looks really cute. I really love how like the darts turned out. I did French seams on everything, and yeah, just have to finish up all of the front. So let's do that next. Putting the facings on is always one of the least intuitive parts of the process for me. I'm not sure what it is. I think, you know, it's finding the placement of the facings along with the collar and making sure that all the right seams are enclosed and pinning and sewing just correctly so that everything looks nice and neat, because it's also the most, it's the focal point of the piece, it's the front. And I always feel like there's quite a lot of pressure at this moment because it's also nearing the end of the project, and that's kind of where I tend to speed things up. But I think as I start to sew more blouses and just sew more in general, a lot of things are a bit more intuitive, and I am starting to figure out the process a little bit more and come up with my own ways of doing things that are maybe, easier for me than the instructions. I have a jar full of vintage buttons, so every time I get to use them is always a treat. I'm using these little pearlescent ones here. Everything was going great until this happened. So we're unpicking now. Alright friends, we are just finishing up the top. I am hemming the sleeve. I'm doing a nice wide sleeve, and then I already did the bottom hem here. I also did the buttonholes here, and next I'm just going to add the buttons. Or these like really cute sort of like pearlescent buttons to go with like the vacation dad vibes. And then I will show you the final result, and in the next video we are going to do the matching shorts, so stay tuned for that because I'm going to be self-drafting them and show you how you can self-draft them too. Little drawstring shorts, very cute, very fun, with pockets of course. And yeah, that's about it. Let us go into finishing this baby up. So one thing that happens when you go too quickly is that you make mistakes. So I always go too fast when I reach the end of a project, and as a result I made this arm sleeve. I hemmed it the wrong way, like classic, it's completely the wrong way. So I unripped one of them. Where is it? I seam ripped one, and I'm gonna seam rip the other one because we have to correct our mistakes. But it happens every time, and if I had just listened to myself the first time and gone slower, then we wouldn't have to do this. But this is just a mistake I'm gonna have to keep making, I guess. So let us unrip this damn shirt again. Alright everyone, we have finished the video. So this is it, but I'm not going to show you a full reveal because I want to save it for the set, which I'm going to be doing next week. So this is more of just like a realistic sew along, and next week we're going to actually draft a pair of shorts together to match a shirt, or just to have as a pair of shorts, whatever you want. So thank you so much for sticking around. If you want to see a sort of fashion diary of all of my makes and sustainable fashion, you can go to my Instagram at @makingcassie. On my TikTok, I do a bunch of sort of bite-sized little sewing videos. And here on YouTube, if you want to subscribe, this is the kind of stuff I'll be putting out. So hope to see you there, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.